When you make movies, you usually make mistakes. That's often because it's such a huge project with so many moving parts that something's bound to go wrong, and sometimes those mistakes come from the costume department. Now, we aren't looking to rag on the lovely people who do the often thankless job of making movie characters look good in the sartorial department, but it's sometimes fun to take a look at some errors in costumes that took place during filming. So stick around as Facts First presents Unforgivable Costume Mistakes that made it into the final cut. Dirty Dancing. While Jennifer Grey's character, Baby, was gallivanting around the Poconos learning to dance, she had numerous outfits that would befit the daughter of rich parents at a summer resort. And for the most part, the outfits given to her by the costume department were spot on. They fit the time period, the 1960s, the location, the weather, you name it. But they did run into trouble when they asked Grey to wear jean shorts. This might seem like the most benign costume choice these days. After all, who hasn't tried on a fun pair of jean shorts for some outdoor summer fun? Unfortunately, what the costume department didn't take into account, or totally ignored, is the fact that cut-off jean shorts of the high-cut variety didn't actually become in vogue until the 1970s. Many people attribute female rockers like Debbie Harry and Patti Smith for making them popular. So either Baby was way ahead of her time, fashion-wise, or it was an overlooked costume error. And considering Baby was pretty meek and, well, kind of a baby, it seems unlikely she was predating cool rock chicks from the 70s. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Speaking of jeans, the Raiders of the Lost Ark features a jean-wearing extra that was either supposed to be a time traveler or was the victim of the costume department caught sleeping. In the scene that takes place in 1930s Cairo, Egypt, Indiana Jones is sipping on a drink. He's lamenting the fact that he no longer has the love of his life, or at least so he thinks. While most of our focus is on Harrison Ford, as he plays the irascible but genius Dr. Jones, eagle-eyed viewers might catch the extra casually strolling by in jeans and a t-shirt. Of course, these days that would be totally fine. In fact, in most locations and eras from the latter half of the 20th century on, there would likely be people wearing this particular getup. But the problem is, people in Cairo in the 30s weren't wearing this ensemble. So it was probably the case of the costume department having one too many extras to wrangle and perhaps missing one. Or maybe no one told them that this was an anachronistic wardrobe choice and they gave it the green light. Either way, it's an engrossing scene on its own, so the movie probably gets away with it. Glory. Speaking of extras, there's one in the movie Glory who wore an item that was very much not time period appropriate. Glory is a powerful and heart-wrenching movie set in the American Civil War. It tells the tale of soldiers fighting in 1863, and it's a true movie classic. But one extra puts a slight damper on it by wearing a watch. This might seem like a harmless move, but unfortunately, wristwatches didn't start being worn until about half a century later. This blatant costuming error pops us out of the time period, and perhaps ruins the scenes for some viewers. This is another case of an extra's costume being the culprit. So perhaps it was the costume department that had too many extras on their hands to catch it. It seems most likely the extra forgot he was still wearing his own watch when the camera started to roll. Let's just be thankful it wasn't an Apple Watch or a Rolex. American Hustle. Speaking of Rolexes, we have another watch-based error in the movie American Hustle. And this one is super subtle, so most people probably missed it. This David O. Russell movie is set in the 1970s and deals with the infamous ab scam scandal. Many politicians were busted for taking bribes during the scandal, leading to some exorbitant spending on their parts. One of the characters who has clearly taken a bribe is the one played by comedian Louis C.K., and the costume department decided that one way they would show it would be to have him wear a Rolex, which isn't a problem in and of itself. The Rolex company was around in the 1970s. The problem is the particular model they chose. It wasn't available until 2010. So perhaps they thought it was such a small detail that they'd get away with it. But thanks to obsessive fans who catch these types of things, we know about this costume error. Braveheart. This one is a biggie. If you're like most people who saw Braveheart, you loved it and you left the theater, or your couch, trying to imitate Mel Gibson's Scottish accent. As well you should. The movie is a classic and won a slew of Academy Awards. But one thing it shouldn't necessarily be praised for is its costuming. That's because the kilts that are seen on nearly every Scotsman in the film weren't actually worn in the 13th century when the film takes place. According to historians, kilts didn't come into fashion in Scotland until nearly 300 years later. That makes it a pretty huge error. It's such a major component of the film, it seems unlikely that it was a mistake on the costume department. It seems likely they were given the task of making kilts for all the men and just did their job, and thus the higher-ups on the movie, like Mel Gibson, were probably more to blame for this huge time period mistake. Oh well, the movie's incredible and very rewatchable, regardless of what they're wearing. My Girl. My Girl is a heartwarming yet tragic tale about a young girl coming of age in the 70s. It has a stellar cast that includes Anna Klumsky, Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Macaulay Culkin. And the costume department did a great job of outfitting all the characters into era-appropriate clothing and accessories. That is, with the exception of one important accessory. The main character, Veda, wears a mood ring. It's one of those color-changing rings that supposedly changes based on the wearer's mood. And while these were indeed popular with young girls in the 1980s and 90s, they weren't yet available when the movie takes place. Though it should be noted they were commercially available in 1975. The only problem is, My Girl takes place in 72, 3 years before Veda could have gotten her hands on one. The Doors. The movie The Doors is a wild and dramatic take on the ups and downs of the seminal rock band of the 1960s. It chronicles Jim Morrison and crew as they navigate the rock and roll scene and life as famous rock stars. And while the costume department did an excellent job overall of creating looks that nailed the aesthetics of the 60s rock and roll scene, they did get one major thing wrong. Val Kilmer, who plays Morrison, is seen wearing some Ray-Ban sunglasses that didn't actually come out until the 1980s. And while they looked great on Kilmer, they shouldn't have been included. Perhaps it was an error on the costume department's part, or perhaps Kilmer insisted on wearing them because they made him look quite cool. It doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility that Kilmer, channeling his inner Jim Morrison, would have wanted to break the rules here and there on set. Singin' in the Rain. Here's a costume error from a little further back. Fans of classic films are likely fond of the Hollywood gem Singin' in the Rain. It was released in 1952 and set in the latter half of the 1920s. It didn't get a lot of love when it came out, but in the 70 years since, it's become considered a classic of American cinema. It has a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, something not many films can boast. And it generally nails the essence of the late 20s with its costumes. But there's a scene where Debbie Reynolds, as Kathy Selden, is wearing an outfit decidedly out of time. She has on a form-fitting pink dress. And while it certainly showed off her lovely figure and was a great look overall, it didn't fit with the fashion trends of the late 1920s. So that makes it a big mistake on the part of the costume department. Now it's time to hear from you. Do costume mistakes like these ruin the movie watching experience for you? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.